The Lexus LX570 received a refresh last year. It had some updates to the styling, especially to the front end, with Lexus's now signature spindle grille. Some tweaks to the interior, just brought it up to date a little bit. But it was a mid-cycle refresh for this vehicle. In the meantime, Land Rover has a new flagship vehicle. Mercedes has redone the GL. So how does a refreshed vehicle compete against two brand new vehicles in that market? Well, let's find out today here on Rumblestrip.NET and 10-minute test drive. The top-end luxury SUV market doesn't necessarily sell a lot of vehicles as far as numbers go. However, it is, as we said, a very prestigious market. These are vehicles typically driven by people whose family incomes well exceed $250,000, oftentimes well more than $500,000. And that's understandable when these things start at, over $70,000. The vehicle we're driving here today, the LX570 from Lexus, this one stickers in just under $90,000. And when you're spending $90,000, you gotta believe that you're looking for something as close to perfection as you can. So does this vehicle deliver on that? Well, we'll get to that in a few minutes. But what is it? Well, the Lexus is built off of Toyota's Land Cruiser platform. In fact, it is essentially the same vehicle with a different, some different exterior pieces and a very different interior. Now, the Land Cruiser is legendary in the sense that it is, it can be a hardcore off-road vehicle, although Lexus has deviated from that DNA here in the last decade or so. It certainly is not what it once was, but it's still very capable. In fact, just last year, the LX570, and we'll use that in quotes, won the Baja with Joe Bacal.
My name's Joe Bacal. I race the factory-back 2013 Lexus LX570 in the Score Series, as well as the Best in the Desert Series. This is 2013. We had a pretty good season. I got second place in the Mint 400 this year, and we won first place in the Score Baja 500 in June. So far, we're up to 2 Baja 1000 wins, as well as 2 Baja 500 wins, and a championship in the last 5 years. Surprisingly, with the 2013 LX570 is very, very stock vehicle, just like my race truck. I mean, I am running stock upper and lower A-arms, stock drivetrain. The only thing that's changed on this LX570 that I race off-road is literally tires and shocks. Everything else is completely stock. And it's been through multiple Bajas, and it just keeps holding up. So it's the durability and the reliability gives me the confidence to win races.
But how does it work for a luxury SUV? And in that sense, it works pretty well. 99.95% of these people who buy this vehicle, the closest they'll come to driving off-road is maybe a dirt road. There's certainly very little, if any, hardcore type of off-road environment will be seen by this. So it's built for luxury on the highway and in city driving, and in that sense it does a pretty good job. The ride in this is quite good. The steering is actually surprisingly good. It's not very light in a bad way. It actually has decent feedback and good weight to it. Of course, it's a 6,000, 7,000 pound vehicle. It's going to have weight to it, right? Now, the Lexus LX570 is powered by the 5.7 liter V8 Toyota motor, and it has good power. It has good torque down low, and it feels a little quicker than it probably is until you get to about 4,000 RPM, and then the weight of the vehicle really starts to come in. It's quick enough at city speeds and getting up to highway speeds when it comes to acceleration, but bury your foot in it and it's going to take a little bit longer than you expect, say over 50 or 60 miles an hour to get up to that speed. Now, once up to speed, especially on the highway, The ride, again, is very good. It's extremely quiet, and deceptively so, to the point where you wouldn't think a big vehicle like this could roll down the highway and you wouldn't notice your speed, but it's one of those vehicles where you look down and you're going probably 10 to 20 miles an hour faster than you thought you were. Fuel economy. Do people who spend this kind of money care about fuel economy? I don't know. That said, sticker on it is 14 city, 18 highway, and that's pretty much bang on what we got. And not pussyfooting it around, just pretty much driving it as we feel most people who own this vehicle would. Now let's talk about the interior, because that's, to me, one of the most important parts of a vehicle like this. Is if you're spending that money, you're looking for perfection or very high quality. And here's where I'm going to say that the Lexus misses out compared to the new Land Rover and the new Mercedes GL. Being that this platform is quite a number of years old now, it's saddled with some of the design features that were fine 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, but are a little bit out of date now, especially with some of the current trends and current thinking. Most of the materials that are used are quite good, although there are some interesting choices and some misses, I will say. The top of the dash is it looks very nice, but it's essentially hard plastic. The leather in here it's nice and it's supple, and obviously it's a lot of soft touch areas, but it's very thin. It feels like there's just like a 1 or 2 mil piece of padding foam between some hard plastic and the leather, and it looks good, but as soon as you touch it, you notice it, and I don't want to say it lends a bit of cheapness to it. I'm sorry to say, but that's really what it is. It also has some of the other luxury features that you would expect. It has DVD players for the rear seat with Bluetooth headsets. We have a cooler here in the center to keep your beverages, nice and chilly in a hot summer day or on road trips. All in all, this is it's a good vehicle. And when it comes, because it's a Lexus and it's a Toyota, you're never going to worry about quality. You're never going to worry about it breaking down or any issues. And in some ways, that is one of the truest sense of luxuries. It's something you should never have to worry about. The flip side, though, is it's maybe not as good as it could be from an interior standpoint. And that's a trade-off that some people may not like, or it's maybe something they don't care or notice. So overall, is the LX570 a good luxury SUV? Absolutely. Very capable, very comfortable. We've enjoyed our week with it. Because you don't see a lot of them. It's interesting the response you see when when you come for a dinner, or you go through the car wash and all of a sudden all the guys are all over it, and normally they don't open your doors to wipe the sills, and here they were doing it over and over again to make sure that everything was great. So, there are some benefits to driving a high-end vehicle like that. Perception is you want that extra attention, and you get it. Without having driven the Land Rover, the Mercedes, back to this, how do they drive? How does it drive against that? Well, we'll assume that it's pretty competent. Off-road, it has the quality, it has the heritage that should be fine. And again, who's really going to be driving it off-road? Very few, if any. So to wrap up with the LX570, we've enjoyed our time with it. We think it's a very good, very competent vehicle. Is it worth the almost $90,000 that the sticker is on it? That's going to be a judgment call for you if you're buying it. As we said, the quality of the materials in here is good. The execution is fairly good, although, as we said, it's a couple questionable things, but that's because it's based off the Land Cruiser and it's a older platform. If it were ours, would we be what would we think if we were spending $90,000? I would want a little better interior, a little more updated interior. Too much confusion with buttons, knobs, touch screens. It's just not as cohesive as it could be, but that's because it was a mid-cycle refresh and it's sort of caught in the middle of this of the technology that's really come into cars here in the last few years. But if you were to buy it and spend the $90,000, are you getting good value? I believe so. And you know, it's probably fine. You're not going to be unhappy. Anyone who buys this is not going to be unhappy with their purchase, I don't believe. So LX570, is it the best in the class? No, but that's just because it's not the newest. And anymore, if you're not the newest, you're not going to be the best. Are you going to go wrong in purchasing this? Not at all. LX570 is a very solid vehicle.